What's going on, guys? Jake Peffer here. Welcome back to Jake's Cinema Room. Today, I'm going to be starting a new segment on this channel called Underrated and Overlooked, where I talk about movies that I feel are either vastly underrated or movies that when they came out were severely overlooked and maybe never got their opportunity to really be seen by general audiences. So today, I'm taking a trip back 20 years. This is the 20-year anniversary of this movie. It came out in 2004. Very small indie movie that you may not have even heard of, but if you have and you had the opportunity to see it, it was really quite the gem at the time. This movie is called Mean Creek. Now, with this movie, it did a lot for me at the time. I mean, honestly, this was a movie that I didn't really know much about, but I saw the cast in it, and the cast at the time was a lot of very young actors that were still mostly up and coming, but you'd probably seen most of them in a few things here and there. And now some of them have actually gone on to be pretty decently big names for the most part. A few of the other ones have kind of maybe faded off more into obscurity, but the main, what do you have? About 5 or 6 kids here in this movie that are kind of your central crux of the entire thing. All of them are people you have definitely seen. And if you grew up in the same time as me in the 90s, even though this movie came out in the early 2000s, you have definitely seen all of these kids in something else for sure. The movie basically is a small story. It revolves around a kid named Sam, who's played by Rory Culkin. Yes, one of the famous Culkin clan. He gets picked on by a kid named George at school. George is played by Josh Peck, who most of you would know from Drake and Josh, and he's gone on to be one of the probably bigger people that's more well known from this movie. But he is a pretty bad bully. Like, he beats Sam up pretty viciously, and it's not too good. Once Sam's older brother Rocky, who's played by Trevor Morgan, once he gets word of this, him and his friends devise a plan where they're going to pretend like it's Sam's birthday and invite George along for the ride, and they're going to go out on a boat ride, and basically their plan is to play truth or dare, eventually dare George to strip naked, and then they're going to leave him there and take his clothes and basically humiliate him, because this kid, he's a pretty bad bully, like I said, and they want to do something to him that's going to humiliate him and just kind of put him in his place. Things don't go quite as planned on this trip, and it leads to some things that probably shouldn't be discussed and would spoil the movie for you. But it is an interesting look at just the way teenagers and kids of this age act, because you're dealing with some middle school kids who are also tagging along with some older high school kids, and just the dynamic between the different characters and all these younger actors is really what makes this movie. You have, like I said, a lot of really good, talented young actors in this movie. The few that I've named already, all very talented, all do a really good job in this movie. The other 3 characters you have in the movie are played by Ryan Kelly, who's gone on to do some stuff here and there. I believe he was on the show Teen Wolf as one of the older boys in the group. Then you have Scott Meklowicz, I think is how you pronounce his name. He was actually Scotty in Euro Trip. That's probably his biggest role, and he hasn't really done a whole lot since then, but you'll definitely know him as Scotty from Euro Trip. And then you have Carly Schroeder, who was Matt's kind of girlfriend, best friend on Lizzie McGuire, and she went on to do some other things as well. But you have them along with the other 3, Rory Culkin, Josh Peck, and Trevor Morgan, and just the amount of talent in these kids is crazy, because they're all fairly young, some a little bit older than others, obviously, and probably were closer to their 20s or at least their late teens when this movie was actually made. But that is the strength of the movie, is just the cast and how well they work together, and how genuine this story really feels, because it feels just like an everyday story. These kids, they all live in a small town, and they the older brother Rocky, he doesn't want to see his little brother keep getting beat up by this really vicious bully. Like, he's really bad with it. Like, the movie starts out with Sam going up to his camera and just checking it out, and he beats the shit out of this kid. Like, he really beats him up. And it's just, things like this happen in real life. And it's a really telling tale to see it displayed so genuinely, because it feels real. These kids feel like real kids. The situation feels like a real situation that kids like this would get into. And I think that's, at the time, what, made this movie speak to me a lot, is because I was 13, 14 years old when this came out. I probably saw it, probably didn't get a chance to see it right when it came out. So I was probably about 14 or 15 when I actually got the chance to see it. So I was right in, the same age group as this movie. So it kind of hit me in a way that was like, wow, this is a situation I could easily be in with my friends or peers at my school and things like that. And it really works on a lot of levels, because here you have not only this kid getting viciously bullied and beaten up and things like that, but on the other hand, when the movie actually focuses on the character of George, and it's really a testament to Josh Peck's performance in this movie, you learn that he's really just a troubled kid. He doesn't, he's overweight, as you probably remember if you watched Drake and Josh back in the day, or the Amanda Show. Josh Peck was a bigger kid. He was definitely a little bit overweight. But in the movie itself, he clearly doesn't have a lot of friends. He clearly doesn't get along, and he kind of lashes out against other kids. He just wants to be liked. He just wants to have friends and things like that. And when they actually showcase a lot of those moments in this movie, these little small details, it really hits you, because, a lot of us, probably most of us, when we were kids, were in similar situations where we felt like maybe, we didn't have a lot of friends, or, were really that well liked, or wanted to get invited to, parties and things like that. So it's actually an interesting look at not only the one side of it, of the kid that gets bullied, but looking at it from the bully's perspective as well. And when everything eventually comes to the climax, and certain things happen, it just gets that more intense, and ends up being sad in certain circumstances, because when what happens. Again, I don't want to spoil anything for those of you that have not seen the movie. It kind of hits you. It's a gut punch, because it's like, wow, things just in an instant can change. And it's like, maybe we should have been nice, or, maybe we shouldn't have done the things that we did. And it's a very interesting look at teenagers and just the way that they act. And I applaud this movie. It's a movie I've really loved for 20 years now. And, ever since I saw it, like I said, it hit me in a certain way that just felt very genuine. And it's a movie that anytime somebody's looking for something, just a good movie to watch, has good acting, good writing, good direction, just good all around. This is a movie I usually throw out. And a lot of people are like, oh, I've never even heard of that movie. And, that's why I'm starting up this segment, is because I want to showcase movies that people may have slipped under the radar at the time when they came out, or maybe you heard of it but you never got a chance to see it, and now, hey, I'm going to recommend it for you, and you should definitely go check it out. But Mean Creek is without a doubt a very, very good movie, just all around. There's really not much bad in it. The worst I can say about it is it's actually kind of short. It clocks in like just under an hour and a half. So maybe actually adding on about 15 more minutes, you could have fleshed out the characters a little bit more. But throughout the movie, you get enough of each character to kind of know what they're about and get, a good idea of who they are. And the character played by Ryan Kelly, he's the only one that kind of gets a little bit of the short end of the stick. He's great in his performance in the movie, but his character feels like at times maybe doesn't get as much to do as the other ones. But outside of that, that's really the only gripes I would have with the movie, and even those gripes are very minimal. Like I said, it's a great movie overall. If you haven't heard of it or haven't seen it before, definitely check it out. I'm not sure exactly where it's available. I believe it's on streaming. I have the DVD. I honestly don't even know how easy the DVD is to get anymore. I don't believe it was ever released on Blu-ray, so don't even bother looking there. But if you can find it streaming or anywhere, maybe it's on YouTube, definitely seek it out, because it is well worth checking out. It is one that definitely got overlooked at the time, but you should check it out if you've never seen it. That's about it for me, guys. If you have had the opportunity to see Mean Creek. Please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more reviews, more rankings, and more of this segment coming up in the near future. I'll leave all my links down below on where you can follow me and check out more of my reviews. And until next time, I'll catch you all later.